Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your first gameplay and overview straight from the dev server. The third dev server just opened up today of the Vijayanta. This is a rank 5 battle rating 8.0 premium tank that will be in the British Ground Forces tech tree. This is something that, in my opinion, is pretty unexpected. There is word of a T90S possibly coming to the British Ground Forces tech tree because it will be an Indian vehicle, but of course we'll have to wait and see if that will happen. Now, that being said, this is essentially a Vickers Mk.1. As you could see, it looks almost identical to the Mk.1, except of course it is heavily upgraded. It doesn't look quite like the Mark III because the Mark III has a different turret, but again, you guys get the point. Now, this vehicle is pretty standard at this BR. It's got a good heat FS shell with 400 millimeters of armor pen at max APDS. It has a decent, though not great, power to weight ratio. It is fully stabilized, and of course also has night vision. So overall, not incredibly different from the Mk.1, but it does have that heat FS, whereas the Mk.1 does not. Now, bear in mind, this is the dev server, so anything could be up to be changed in the future. But that being said, I am stoked to bring this thing out in the battlefield, and if you guys didn't know, this will be right next to the AVRE and the Centurion Mk.1, which would round out a pretty decent area of the tech tree for the British. But that being said, let's get into a few matches, see how this thing will perform. But man, oh man, I am stoked to play it. Let's get into it. So, some real quick things to note before I actually get into combat here. Being that this is the dev server, as you can see, we've got 4 actual enemy players. Everyone else is a bot. Typically, bots are in World War II or slightly post-World War II vehicles, meaning that if I fight those bots, and also they really can't hit for doo-doo, but if I fight those bots, I should be able to have an easy time with them. But if I face those enemy players, they will have typically pretty modern vehicles, unfortunately, and they will be able to wreck me. But that said, there are some key differences that I did not mention in the initial intro that do make, I guess, some level of a difference, but not really. First, it has an LMG on top, which is pretty cool. That will be able to, you know, of course, assist with defeating unarmored vehicles and also aircraft. And we also have, of course, slightly different side skirts. A little difficult to see because of the way the shadows are, but the side skirts are a bit longer on this as opposed to what we see on the standard Mk.1. So that is definitely, I guess, something to note, but realistically, it's not going to impact how you play this vehicle, how you view this vehicle, or really anything regarding this vehicle. Now, one other thing that I did notice is that this vehicle has, you know, again, it's 8.0 BR. The Mark III, the Vickers Mark III, is also 8.0 BR. But that has a laser rangefinder and also the same M456 heat FS, which is, again, actually a pretty damn good heat FS. Pretty interesting, in my opinion. It's kind of a little bit strange in that that has, you know, again, those features. Plus, it also has 112 more horsepower while only weighing 0.6 tons more. So you're getting a substantial amount more horsepower with hardly any weight difference. So I'm not really sure, you know, if assuming that you think that that's a good BR for that vehicle, I'm not really sure if it, if then this vehicle, the Vijayanta, and again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Look at this, he just totally made a fool of me. That is a bot. You have to wonder, you know, this is slower than the Mark III. It's got the same cannon. Now, this does have a substantially better reload over the Mark III. So bear that in mind too. So this has a 5.0 BR, 5.0 second reload, whereas the Mark III has a 6.7 second reload. But the Mark III also has a better gun depression, better overall speed. I mean, like, overall, I think the Mark III is probably better in this vehicle. Quite honestly. I think it's probably just a better vehicle, and this is just a premium Mk.1 with better heat FS, or with a better shell coming from its cannon. So take it as you will. But yeah, ultimately take the good and the bad, but I think that this is going to be a decent 8.0 BR vehicle, but we'll ultimately have to wait and see. I've been saying ultimately quite a bit, so my apologies. Okay, that's an enemy, couple of enemy vehicles. Even though they are bots, do not want to expose my flank to him. Very nice. And as you can see, I mean, the Carnarvon, the Lorraine 40T, those are BR contemporaries of this vehicle. So the fact that this was able to lay them out that easily is a good sign, regardless of if you think that this needs a laser rangefinder or not. Definitely very good. Okay, we got the commander and loader. Looks like we might actually have some proper enemies over here, maybe. Again, I am expecting to be rolled, and as one could expect, I am being rolled right now by somebody with a BMP-2M in the dev server. Don't know why you would bring a BMP-2M to the dev server, but I guess that's a thing. So that said, let's get into one more match. Or even respawn, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. See how we could do, but otherwise, hopefully, thus far, I've been able to kind of explain the differences of this vehicle and the other Vickers models, and kind of give you a decent enough idea of what this thing is all about. Ooh, we have ourselves some actual enemies over here. Got a nice kill versus the Fresha with his spike missiles, and I think I saw someone else over there in another speedy wagon. Maybe even a BMP-2. That was an ugly, ugly hit, but I still hit him nonetheless. Cannot complain. Got the fuel tank. And not the kill. Still, Heat FSs, no matter how good they can be, sometimes their post-pen damage is definitely lacking. And it appears as though that is one of those instances where it is lacking. I noticed that Heat FS, I don't know if it's just nowadays or if it's always been like this, but it seems like Heat FS has a tendency not to go through fuel tanks. Rather, it'll blow up in the fuel tank, but that's it. So, ultimately, I mean, I'm finding a pretty decent experience with this vehicle. I mean, it's fairly maneuverable. It's got a very good Heat FS. Again, this isn't really the most representative gameplay, because there's not really going to be any 7 to 9.0 BR vehicles that I'll be facing, unfortunately. And there are very few regular players. They're pretty much all bots. So take it as you will. I've been saying that a whole lot here. But this is a very, thus far, I mean, it's been a very decent enough experience. Oh, that's another thing. It does have the same gunner's optics as the standard Mark 1. It does not have the improved optics that we see in the Mark 3. Got the kill. Very, very fun. Gotten 3 kills, 1 assist. 1 kill against an actual player at a higher BR. Having a good time. Can't complain. That reload is really making a strong case for itself right now. Over the laser rangefinder. Also, this has a 1200-ish meter per second muzzle velocity, which means that the laser rangefinder isn't as important as one might think. So, I mean, a lot of Heat FSs have shot or have muzzle velocities, give or take, I would say, around 1,000 meters per second. But being that this is that much higher, it seems to actually be doing very well. Got the win. So that said, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please, of course, consider liking, commenting, subscribing. I said all I could about this vehicle, but either way, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side. None too shabby. Take care, everyone.